Hey, Zach.
Hey, Alex.
And welcome, everyone, to the Pokemon Power Podcast. Zach, that was one of the first times in the recording I felt very confident about the way that sounded.
I mean, I can tell right now that it sounded amazing. Perhaps the best we've ever sounded, and we should end the episode right now before it gets worse.
Well, with that in mind, if you were a Pokemon, we'd choose you. Have a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
That's how we should start doing each episode. We end it early just in case.
I feel like, yeah. Don't bother sticking around. We're gonna give this Pokemon. We're gonna give it a Great Ball. Zach, What do you want to give it? Ultra Ball.
Ultra Ball. Yeah.
Okay, and it's now at the bottom of the list. Don't even bother looking at it.
No, it's in the middle. Now we just put everything in the middle, and we're done.
All right, Zach, you want to do the like and subscribe jingle?
Okay, I think I remember the words that you say. So I'll
after me doing it almost 30 times.
Yeah, I think I can do.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, wait. Okay, yeah, I can do it. Okay. Like them, subscribe them, and follow them. Leave a review where you don't yell. Pokemon Power Podcast.
Yay! Everyone clap for Zach. He was a good job. Did a good job.
I was a good job.
I was a good job. This week in Pokemon news, Zach, this one really grinds my gears.
Mm-hmm.
We've both been Pokemon fans since we were kids, right?
Just little tykes running
Just
around.
Little tykes
playing with Game
You love
Boys.
Pokemon. So, of course, we're very well acquainted with the popular toy Mr. Pokédoll. He's what Pokemon will attack when you use the move Substitute. Everyone knows what this thing is. I'll bring him up in case you're forgetting.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a green dinosaur, very masculine. And, we, of course, not only remember him because we're big Pokemon fans, but we remember him because he was an icon to every little boy. Something to strive for. And yes, of course, he could wear a dress. And yes, of course, they released a more popular model called Mrs. Pokédoll. But he was a cisgendered, heterosexual, God-fearing male icon. And you know what? Those Team Galactic loving nuts at Silphco, they changed him. Now he's not Mr. Pokédoll, he's just Pokédoll. Who are my sons supposed to look up to, Zach? Me? Wild news out there. I can't believe the world we're living in. Cancel culture. Canceling Mr. Anyway, time for real Pokemon
knew when you
news.
warned me about the things that you're gonna say, and I especially worry when you don't warn me that I know it's gonna be something that I want to rip my headphones in half about you doing, and you did it. So congrats. I think everyone at home is giving you a round of applause. Thank you for making us.
They first clapped for your singing.
They're
clapping for my wonderful opening segment.
They're clapping you away. That's like the end. Like, okay, it's over with. There we go. And now we're done. Now we're really done with the episode.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah. No.
Okay. Clearly, the veil has been lifted. You're seeing the man behind, the Wizard of Oz behind the mirror. And here's the thing.
I don't think
what was he hiding behind?
It was a curtain.
I haven't seen the Wizard of Oz in a while. That movie's probably bad.
No, it was a curtain. He was behind a curtain.
Behind the curtain. Mr. Potato Head. He came with big kissy lips.
Yeah. I knew that his name was Mr. Potato Head, and then I obviously know from the movie Toy Story there was a Mrs. Potato Head, but it was never to me that I was making an actual being that was similar to a human. Look
silly.
Yeah, the whole point was I put his eyes like on his arm, and then put his arm from his nose, and then put a mouth. You put his shoes on his mouth, and then you're like, look at this weird monstrosity I made, and now you're like, well, no, make sure you know that this wasn't a human male. And I was like, well, I'm perfect. Does he still come with a mustache? Because it's funny to put a mustache in an eye.
We all
kids can still have fun.
We all love Mr. Pokédoll, and we miss you, Mr. Pokédoll. Now that you're just Pokédoll, it's okay by us. But it's time for some real Pokemon news.
Perfect.
Zach, there was a Pokemon Presents this last week.
Yep.
And I watched it. I live tweeted from our Twitter account, Pokepowpod. Everyone
went viral.
It went viral
a couple times. Lots of retweets, lots of likes.
Yep.
Started ranting about Mr. Pokédoll.
all my rants about Mr. Pokédoll went viral. I posted a video of me destroying Mr. Pokédoll, saying I don't believe in this anymore. Of me lighting it on fire.
Yep.
Okay, I wanted to go over real quick. You said in our video description, because you uploaded a little clip of us making our predictions for the Pokemon Presents.
Yeah, I did.
You said we were kind of right.
Yeah.
Kind of in the loosest terms possible. We made several predictions. Here's the two that we got right. New Pokemon Snap will be mentioned. Nothing substantial will be shown. I stand by that. We'll talk about that in a second. And of course, no news on Pokemon Sleep. Oh, by the way, I'll continue to make that prediction for the rest of the year. No news on Pokemon Sleep. No one anticipate that.
Smart.
New Pokemon Snap, they showed a trailer. And Zach, did you watch the trailer? I don't even know if you actually checked this one out.
I might not have actually watched that trailer. I watched the other things around it.
Zach, we were right. There was nothing worth watching in that Pokemon Snap trailer. They announced two things based on my recollection. Number one, you can throw an item and it makes the Pokemon glow. And number two,
I did the glowing. Yes, I watched.
You saw the glowing score.
I watched the glowing, and it was like it did it like 6 times, and you're like, who was asking for this to happen? You can take pictures of it at night. Well, you could do that anyway. You don't have to make them glow. Have a flashlight. Do flashlights not exist in this universe of Pokemon?
They also picked out one of the to illustrate it. They showed off one of the only Pokemon with fire moves that should already be lighting up the area that he's around. We don't need to get too far in the weeds. The only thing they did show off that was cool, Joe Merrick of Cerebi pointed this out, that you can revisit the same areas after you've kind of, I believe you've gotten higher ratings for your pictures, things like that, and more Pokemon will be there. So they are incentivizing you to come back because it's like, oh, this area is expanding as time's going on. Cool. But nothing really learned. I still predict we'll get a Pokemon, a little Nintendo Direct on that specifically before that comes out in April.
The other thing that they had that I remember in it was the, like, you know, you're like editing the pic. You have your own Photoshop happening after you take the picture, which is interesting in the sense of like cropping it, which I guess I would be surprised if that wasn't allowed. Like if you took the picture and it was like, and this is it. The thing that I was less excited about, but maybe other people are, we can do a poll, you know, shoot a comment in the below if you were really pumped about this.
Shoot a comment in the below.
Just shoot it right there. But the whole like editing, like where like you're putting like the stars and stuff on it, and like you put the frame on it. That's never been me, but I don't know. Do you like that? Do you know people that would like that? That they were like, finally, I can put like stars over the eyes of the Pokemon and make them look crazy.
This is the crazy thing, Zach, is photo features within games like in Uncharted 4 or in Super Mario Odyssey or any game that has it. Yeah, I never even touch it. I don't even play around with it, but I am very excited.
Is all I know photo it's mode? All it's a little different.
So I'm like excited about it. It's weird. My brain doesn't.
The stickers though? That's what I want to know. Like, how do you feel about like the stickers element?
If I can make memes out of it, sure. I'm not even a meme guy, but like I could see me making a meme.
So we're gonna have to figure out how to have things transfer off of the Switch.
I'll play several. Yes, well, yes, Zach, you can do that.
But it's totally easy. Totally easy.
It is easy, Zach. Just because you're a dumb doesn't mean it's hard. But you know, you could make the stickers make it look like Professor Oak is pulling he's making a moon with his booty. I don't know.
That's great. Yeah, that's what you're gonna.
Classic joke.
Classic joke. Moon booty.
Okay, let's move on because that was not the one that was worth talking about. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I was wrong. I specifically said I didn't think we'd see these, and no, we're getting them. Remakes of the Gen 4 DS games, and the internet was angry. Why? Because it was in a cutesy chibi art style.
The internet was angry about that.
Yes. They the fans of the original did not like it. Zach is I think trying to pull it up right now on the screen.
Yeah, it should be kind of showing up on there while we're talking in the background.
But the funny thing is that the trailer you showed has on it the old footage of the original game, which does have a very nice art style, 2D character sprites and then 3D backgrounds. And the new one, I will say this, Zach, I don't think this is ugly. I think this is very reminiscent of the what was the one? What was it? Link's Awakening, which they released on Switch recently. Yeah, Zach is in this full picture. What do you think of the way this game looks, Zach?
I I think in comparison to what like the game originally was, it's a fun skin on it. I don't think it's like looking like Breath of the Wild or something, but it looks like a well done, better than on like a 3DS version of Pokemon. So I mean, I guess it just depends on what you were expecting. I look at it and I go, yeah, that looks great. Looks great.
I also never ever want to see a Pokemon game look like The Last of Us 2 or something, you know? Like,
I mean, like if it's like a real playthrough of like Detective Pikachu, and then that's like the game that I'm playing, I could imagine a world where I would enjoy it, but not the same way that I want to enjoy Pokemon. Like the lighthearted, you're playing through this fun game. It's like, no, this is gritty, this is real, and everything is terrifying. You're going to have nightmares about seeing these Pokemon. When a legendary Pokemon jumps out at you, you will cry because it's just a giant monster.
You're not going to have nightmares in Diamond Pearl, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. You're not going to have those nightmares. Instead, you're going to have pleasant dreams. Even if Giratina shows up, nice, sleepy dreams.
Yeah.
And I want to, do you have any more thoughts on this one, Zach?
I mean, again, I think that they did a great job advertising it, showing you what the original game looked like, reminding you this is what a DS used to be. So then when it comes in with the next screen, I don't understand anyone. And I'll say this, maybe someone that we mutually know. I don't understand anyone who would say that this looks the same. It doesn't.
You should say, we have an enemy of the podcast, Jordan Taylor. I think we shouldn't be so cruel. He's the frenemy of the podcast, Jordan Taylor.
That's true. That's nice. Frenemy.
But he's a dum-dum and says that this looks bad.
It's cute. It's fun. I love it. You know what?
Invitation. Jordan, come on the show. Defend your position.
Absolutely.
But okay, let's move on to the Pokemon Legends Arceus. I learned that in that presentation, I've been saying it wrong.
There we go.
Pokemon Legends Arceus. And you had specifically mentioned, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. It's not Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Pokemon Legends Arceus kind of is Pokemon Breath of the Wild.
Exactly.
It is an ancient game taking place in the Sinnoh region. And it is interesting because it appears to be open world. You can run around and you're catching the Pokemon in the actual world that you are running around in. You can fight them seemingly without having to exit, into some other area. It feels like what Breath of the Wild was. I mean, I'm trying to think of another comparison, maybe like a Xenoblade Chronicles game or
so we have like the kind of the shots that it gives in the video here that we're watching the preview. And I mean, I like what's going on. You're like literally you're bending down, hiding in the
grass.
Excuse me.
And excuse you, Zach.
Thank you. I mean, catching the Pokemon. I mean, I'm interested in how you're going. Like, is it just about surprising the Pokemon to catch them? Or is there a way to take down HP to catch a Pokemon? Because it's just so you're kind of circling around it and just kind of throwing Pokeballs at them. But I mean, even if that's the case, this is a new take on Pokemon. Yeah, and I'm possibly really excited for it. How do you feel about it?
I'm very excited. My only thing is this game doesn't look the best. Looks kind of ugly. But at the same time,
it looks like a poor man's Breath of the Wild. Is kind of what you're saying.
It does look like a poor man's Breath of the Wild. But here's the two pieces of context I'll give to that. Number one, this looks better than Sword and Shield, the last Pokemon game we got on Switch.
Yeah, and
it's a year plus out. Probably it says early 2022. Yeah. I imagine we're not getting this till May. And that's what my guess is what they mean by early 2022 is just the first half of the year. So it's got time to cook. Let it sit and let it bake in the oven.
Yeah.
And when it's ready, we'll see it again. And this thing will be flush with Pokemon. All the prettiest trees, Pokemon fans. We know you love trees, and it'll have better trees. The grass will move in the wind, all that good stuff. And they'll have as a showpiece, Arceus himself will be on screen in the game, and you'll be excited about it. I don't know. Any final thoughts on this one, Zach?
I think that's it. There's two things. One, yes, in some of these images, as we watch the video, it looks a little sparse. You kind of looks like you're kind of seeing only one real region that's happening, and maybe day and night change. It doesn't look like a current gen game happening right now, way it is. But the idea of it is really interesting. That Pokemon would do something different. Pokemon would venture out of the norm. And I also would say this, some shots of Breath of the Wild some of it's like, amazing, right? It's an amazing game. But a lot of times, if you compare that with Red Dead Redemption or something like that, it looks like it's just a barren wasteland. But if anyone knows from playing Breath of the Wild, how it works, how it plays is amazing in comparison to every other open world game that existed. So Pokemon, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, I think, Breath of the Wild is one of those games where I think to a person who didn't really experience it, doesn't really care, they would probably call it sparse. Mm-hmm. But I think after you've actually played it, and hopefully the same will be true with Pokemon Legends Arceus, we'll be saying, wow, so much to do. Hey, wait, one other thing on this.
Yeah.
Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, it's being shipped out to some other company to work on. Game Freak is not working on this. Game Freak, my guess is all hands on deck working on Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yeah.
So we're getting the AAA effort here. They're going to put in all their chips, everything they got.
Yeah.
And
so I think what that hopefully means is we're going to get some of the old Pokemon, recipe where you've got multiple different towns that you're going through. You've got the areas and having the regions outside of this little mountain area. And I think it could be magical. I think it could be a magical experience.
I agree. I'm very excited for the magical experience of Pokemon Legends Arceus. Send us the check in the mail, Game Freak, for saying the nice things about the game. But Zach, we're not a Pokemon Legends Arceus podcast, although one day we will be when the game comes out
someday.
We are a power ranking podcast, and we got a Pokemon we're talking about today. So we're going to check and see exactly which one we're going to talk about. We're going to flip our coin. If it is heads, then Zach is going to describe today's Pokemon, elucidate today's Pokemon. If it's tails, then I'm going to elucidate today's Pokemon. I'm flipping it right now. It is heads. Zach, you have the honor.
Here we go.
I'm gonna bring a picture of today's Pokemon up on the screen in a second once I put the right picture up. I'm going to bring a picture of today's Pokemon up on the screen, and Zach, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to describe it without saying a Pokemon's name or without using the word cute. Are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
I'm going to bring it up in 3, 2, 1.
All right. What we're looking at here today is an amazing bird. If you think about a giant phoenix flying through the air, we've got flames coming off of the wings and the head of this fierce looking avian bird creature, and it looks like molten lava is floating around it. Done.
Wonderful. Great. You ended with 3 seconds left. You gave a great description there, Zach. I have to ask, who's that Pokemon?
Moltres.
It is Moltres.
Moltres.
Moltres. One of the original legendary Pokemon in Red and Blue, of course. So those are the only Pokemon we're talking about right now. But what are your thoughts on Moltres? Give me your initial thoughts. This was a big deal when we were kiddos.
Okay. So one of the 3 legendaries, obviously, and I saw in your tabs up there we have the Galar form, which I'm being pumped about. Okay, I'm pumped about the episode, pumped about Moltres. So, but let's go back in time before I ever would imagine that there'd be another version of Moltres. I was probably, of the 3 legendary birds, my second. So my first go-to would be Zapdos, because I liked him as a powerful electric, and I thought it was funny to have like an electric flying type, because normally he'd get beat up, but he's not.
Classic kid joke.
You're like,
electric by flying being strong? That's ridiculous.
Jokes. But I still, because I was a big Charizard guy, so I always had that was like my fire. But Moltres was super cool, had a lot of really cool fire type moves, super strong. So I liked them, but he probably wasn't in my main party. But of like those legendary birds, it would probably be a close first and second between Zapdos and Moltres.
And then Articuno pulling up the rear.
Yeah, I would never. I don't even think I worried about ever catching Articuno. That's my thought about it. Like if I just accidentally caught him, I would.
Sure.
What's your thoughts, Moltres?
I'm a fan. I like Moltres. I do actually think I keep no spoilers. I guess this is just coming down to how badly we like them. Zapdos was probably my favorite as well, followed by Moltres, followed by Articuno. And I might just flip those exactly if you look at the Galar versions of them. And actually, I'll bring up the Galarian version of Moltres, so that way our audience knows what we're looking at here as well.
Hey, so write in the comments, though, does anyone like Articuno? Just put it in the comments. Do you like Articuno? Because so far we're 0 for 2 for Articuno.
Yeah, 0 for 2 for Articuno. If Articuno is your favorite, yeah, put that in the comments.
Put that in the comments.
Galarian Moltres here, just for a description for the listener.
Amazing.
Completely different from Cantonian Moltres. This one is instead black with some red stripes on him, and he has flaming wings, flaming hair, and a flaming tail, which is both black and red, and some nice big talons on this guy.
Amazing.
He is as intimidating as can be, while regular Moltres, you'd pet this boy. You'd
like
say,
if he settled down, sat there, you'd be like, okay, there's a part of this that
you'd feed him corn.
Regular bird. Yeah, hey, you've got flames on you, but we're friends. This thing, there's no way I'm friends with
Moltres.
This crazy
would eat a child
murder.
in front of you.
And that's the thing.
While
It's like
staring in your eyes,
looking at you, just and here's the thing. It's kind of like a demon bird out of the pits of HE double hockey sticks, if you know what I mean.
I don't spell it. What's it mean? I can't spell. Zach's talking about down under Australia.
That's right. Yeah, and there's monsters that live there: giant spiders, giant bugs, and this bird thing.
Well, Zach, we have only done this once before, but it's time for a segment, a fan favorite, I must say.
Perfect.
Version of version. Across the Pokemon games, we will see several different versions of the same Pokemon. Sometimes they differ by region. Sometimes they mega evolve. Regardless, on our podcast, only one Pokemon can reign supreme. To which version do we have an aversion? So, Zach, we're going to figure out which one we like more. Do we like Galarian Moltres? Do we like Cantonian Moltres? Do you have a preference starting out?
Oh, sure. I mean, starting out, it's got to be, with nostalgia, Cantonian Moltres. And also, I have little to no true experience, firsthand experience with the Galarian Moltres. So that's where I start at. Now, I'll tell you this. The more I looked into it, and I think the more that anyone honestly looks into it, let's just go. Let's see what happens.
Well, so I wanted to kind of take it step by step. My initial thought was, let's look at the design. And I got to say, if we're going category by category here, I love the gentle simplicity. I mean, if you said Phoenix, and I think most people, when they think of Phoenix Pokemon, they're going to think Moltres.
Yep.
But Galarian Moltres?
Demon Monster. I would always have that in my party.
Oh
always.
My gosh. This thing was made by an expert. In the words of Hitchcock, Moltres was made by a talented amateur. Galarian Moltres was made by a professional.
Absolutely.
This thing is, I struggle to find the words, because you know what? They showed off, hey, we got
here's the thing for viewers, though, and our listeners. I always want to make sure that they don't respect you enough and think that you are just coming up with that quote offhand. He's already used that at least 2 times in private conversations. So I just want everyone to know that that's just your favorite quote from Hitchcock. Okay.
When my wife is like, "You're making lunch. The lunch you made yesterday was terrible," I was like, "The lunch I made yesterday was made by a talented amateur. The lunch I'm making today is made by a professional."
Yeah, it's not like you're trying to quote something. It's just like that's your phrase that you use.
That's the phrase I like to use.
Okay.
Yeah, I think design wise, I think Galarian takes it. Typing wise, Cantonian Moltres is fire flying.
Yeah.
While Galarian Moltres is dark flying. And I think for me, I'll start off. Yeah. I think the point goes to Cantonian. Because here's the thing. We saw that Galarian Moltres. We were both in awe of its flaming black wings. So obviously dark makes sense.
Yep.
But no fire on there? He's on fire. He's a firebird. But
I guess the idea that I have to try to come to is that it's some sort of like it's dark energy. It's not just your regular old fire or something, but I still would want it to be, I don't know, somehow. I mean, you don't want to ignore that it can fly, but make it like dark fire type. I would prefer that, but obviously you have to make it be able to fly. But yeah, I mean, I would have to go with fire flying as well.
I don't know if you can hear in the background, but my Alexa woke up and started yelling at me. This was, we for the listener and for the viewer, we record these fairly late at night, and I just heard someone speaking behind me, and it was terrifying.
She was like, "Go to sleep. Stop." What was she talking about?
Wanted to tell me some facts about time.
It's time to go to bed.
Go to bed. Go to bed, Alexa.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
All right.
I think I would prefer if this was Darkfire. If it was Darkfire, and here's the thing too, Darkfire probably more common than Dark Flying, but Darkfire just feels like it fits.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, I think Cantonian gets that point. As far as their title, we always like the Pokemon category, Zach. Cantonian, the Flame Pokemon.
Fine.
Galarian, the malevolent Pokemon.
Yes. Just it's like the demon Pokemon. That's what it is. The will murder you Pokemon.
I will also say Galarian also has the stats as far as weight. Cantonian is 132 pounds. Galarian is 145 pounds. So a little bit. Yeah. Topped them out. And then I grabbed 2 Pokedex entries, but I know you have some additions to this, some things you'd like to add, but I'll give 2. I tried to pick out the coolest ones for each of them.
Yeah.
Cantonian. This is from Yellow. A legendary bird Pokemon. As it flaps its blazing wings, even the night sky will turn red.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I like the fact that, a Pokemon by itself is changing the color of the sky. Like, I don't know, something very pleasant about that. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's a good
Galarian.
one.
This is one I grabbed from Sword. This Pokemon's sinister flame-like aura will consume the spirit of any creature it hits. Victims become burned out shadows of themselves. So we find out here that the Galarian Moltres has the effect of crystal meth. It turns people into burned out shadows of themselves.
So here's the thing, for all of our listeners and fans, and really the frenemy of the podcast, Jordan Taylor, Alex refuses to read a fantasy series with the rest of his close friends that try to beg him to read books. But this, I specifically, this is what pushed me over the edge to like.
I told you earlier I'm
Galarian.
illiterate.
All right, so this is what pushes me over the edge for Galarian Moltres is so in that book series, there's these certain types of weapons, and when the weapons
tell people what book series you're talking about.
So we're talking about the Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson, the Stormlight Archives, and in those books, there are certain types of swords, but when they pass through like human flesh, they don't like cut the human flesh. They'll go straight through like the person, but it like kills their soul, basically. Like their eyes just go blanked out. And so when it says like burned out shadows themselves, I'm imagining that like the power, the flame aura that consumes the spirit of any creature. So it's just like it does this like swipe of its wing, and this dark fiery thing flies through the person or the Pokemon and just whoosh, whips through them, and then all of a sudden just their just eyes just get totally blacked out, sunken in, and they just fall over as like a shell. And I was like, I need that Pokemon on my team. How terrifying. I mean, you would just win every battle because the first Pokemon would come out to battle. You'd have Galarian Moltres out there, one hit, just that first point, and then none of the other Pokemon are coming to battle. They're just looking at their friend over there, this burned up shell Pokemon, and they're like, I'm not going to go out there. You crazy? Do you see what that thing just happened? I mean, over the edge. Ding, 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 ding. We've got the winner. It's Galarian Moltres.
Wow. I'm somewhat surprised your love of Galarian Moltres. I know that you are a fan of the original designs and, lean more towards the original Pokemon, but I love to see it. I will say this is very close. Okay. I think that this is a difficult one to choose a winner because I think they're both beloved. I think Galarian's new on the scene, but very quick to love. With that in mind, I think I'm going Cantonian. And I'm going Cantonian, I think mostly out of the who do you want at a party?
Well, you're right. You know what? I wouldn't want the malevolent, sinister, evil aura just floating in the background.
The crystal meth Pokemon hanging around.
Exactly.
I think I just you see Cantonian Moltres, and I can picture in my mind, and I'm sure I've seen Ash from the anime, riding on several legendary Pokemon. But I have this image in my mind, it probably never happened, of Ash riding on top of Moltres and just being like, we got this. We can do this. We can win.
It's a good guy. Yeah, it's a good guy. Yeah.
And like, you can never see that with Galarian Moltres. Galarian Moltres, like Ash would be like, come on. And then like, Galarian Moltres would just start pecking Ash's eyes out and then like start chanting some, demonic sound. Yeah,
that's it right there. That's the sound you're thinking. See, I'm the opposite, man. If something's, I want to have the party that like my party in real life, my actual party, or my party in Pokemon. I want it to have Pikachu. Right, just Pikachu, and then surrounded by all of these just massive, terrifying things. So you've got like Gengar or Haunter over here, and then you've got Galarian Moltres standing over here, towering over. And so Pikachu's just standing there, like, "What's up? You want to come at me? You've got to go through all of these murderous, crazy things." And like that's how I scare people. Maybe I'd be the dark gym leader or something, because I don't know, those ones interest me the most right now.
Sure.
But you go with the good guy. You just go with the sweet old little regular old Moltres.
I like the sweeties.
Just little sweet Moltres. But I haven't seen. There was one Moltres that I read that it seems sweet, but also because a lot of them are like, it indicates the coming of spring. Look they came back. Spring has sprung. Moltres has returned. But I did like the one in Ruby Sapphire that says legendary bird, ability to control fire. But Moltres, if Moltres is injured, it is said to dip its body in the molten magma of a volcano to burn and heal itself. That's pretty cool. And that almost pushes me back over. But then I just imagine just sucking the life out of another Pokemon to KO them. And I'm like, nah, it's cooler. It's cooler.
Your favorite Harry Potter character is a Dementor, correct?
It's pretty cool moves that they got, just float in there. Favorite Lord of the Rings, just ring wraiths, just walking around, just sucking the energy out of rooms all the time. Pretty cool.
You were upset when
I'm pretty fun at the party. You
were upset when Frodo won at the end.
Yeah, I was like, come on, dude, the ring wraiths are so cool.
Zach, it's time for the Pokeball decision. And we're going to basically just consider both Galarian. This is always when we have different versions. We're going to consider them as one Pokemon.
Yeah.
How badly do we want this Pokemon? We're going to assign a Pokeball dependent on how badly do we want it. Do we want it Pokeball, Great Ball, Ultra Ball, even Master Ball? We also have the option to flee or throw a rock. Zach, what do you want to do here?
It's just pretty easy for me to decide right away. Ultra Ball. I would almost go Master Ball, but I'm not, because I could live without having him, but I would really like to have.
I would regret that life.
I would feel sad. I would look at the
I would
other
have
person.
regrets in that life.
I would look over and say, "Man, that guy, he's got Moltres. This is pretty cool. Probably my life would be better if I had him." And so I want him. Ultra Ball. Where are you at?
Ultra Ball as well. I like the idea of Zach, you just sitting down in your robe and slippers as an old man. You look the same, but you have a gray beard now, silver hair, and you're just thinking to yourself, like, my life could be so different if I got that Moltres.
Yeah, no, I would be a wise enough, because I think Moltres could age with you. And similar, we go back to Harry Potter again. You've got the Phoenix sitting in the office with Dumbledore. Be pretty cool. You're an old Pokemon person. That would be one that would last with me for my life. I got little old Pikachu to hang out with me, but it's too happy sometimes. You want the regal Moltres to be sitting behind me, as I'm an old man sitting in my rocking chair, and the Moltres is over there keeping me warm because I get cold all the time.
As an old man.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's like a little heater. That's the way you function. He just turn up the heat a little bit, please. And she's like, just put a little heater on you.
I like him a lot too. And there's very little even to be said. I think if you're not giving Moltres at least an Ultra Ball, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, come on.
With that in mind,
what do you think? He's Articuno or something? Come on.
Yeah, if you're giving Articuno an Ultra Ball, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, either way.
This is our 28th main episode of the Pokemon Power Podcast, and reading through the Pokemon Power ranking, what we've named our podcast after, has become unwieldy. If you'd like a refresher on the entire list, you can check out our Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, all at Pokepowpod, where we post the updated power ranking regularly. I'm going to say
yes,
instead of weekly, because we do forget sometimes.
Regularly, it happens.
But if you're a viewer, I'm going to pull this up on the screen right now. Although I think once again we can narrow this down pretty quickly to the top of the list. Moltres is a battle boy. He's powerful.
Oh yeah.
top of our list, the top 5 as of now, 5 is Haunter, 4 is Electabuzz, 3 is Golem, 2 is Mew, and 1 is Koji Nishino himself, Snorlax.
Oh, yeah.
Zach, I'll hear from you first. What do you think?
Okay. I mean, clearly, it's got to be near the top. Legendary bird, high power ranking, just in general, it's very high strength.
Sure.
So the question is, where in the top does Moltres fall? And
do you want me to say the difficult thing, Zach?
I want you to go for it.
Should Moltres be number 1? We've had, if you're a new listener, Snorlax has been in the number 1 spot, I think, since the 3rd episode, maybe the 4th episode, one of those two. Very early on, he was placed there, and he has not shifted at all. Stayed exactly there. But we got a challenger. We got a contender. And I think if he's not, if Moltres isn't going in the 1 spot, I think he's number 2. I think he's bumping Mew down.
I think he's number 1, man. I think if you think about it, he's got the speed, he's got the willpower, he's got the HP to outlast a Snorlax.
He's got a big attack.
He's got the big attack. So I'm just imagining in my mind, I mean, we've got Flame Cyclone coming down and Snorlax. Snorlax would last a long time. He'd get a couple good swipes in, come at him, but just over time, this is a legendary bird. It's going to take out old sleepy man Snorlax.
I was just thinking, it's like if a sumo wrestler were to fight like an acrobat, and the sumo wrestler, if he's up against any other challenger in a fist to fist combat, even if the sumo wrestler is like taking his hits, he can just lay on top of the opponent and win. He's got the size. But Moltres is up in the air, flying around, making swoops. I think Moltres has got Snorlax, and it's crazy because it's been not even a conversation for so many weeks. Yeah. And now we're both confident. Well, you heard it from us both. Moltres, welcome.
You did it. Welcome to the top. We love you. And I will say this. I mean, I think when you combine Galarian and in regular style, I was going to say, I don't know what I was going to say there, but here's the deal. You can
get it regular animal style.
Regular or protein style Moltres. Sure. When you combine those together, I think it super outweighs Snorlax, not physically, but just in skill. Because I think I struggle in my mind, old mind, like how much I love in my memory, like thinking of Snorlax and then thinking of Moltres. I think I would love Snorlax more because I don't know, I identify with being just a lazy, sleepy giant Pokemon. But if I think about it in combination of power, speed, the fact that Moltres could just float above him and just pour fire upon him, I think that's pretty clear, It's pretty clear.
And I just think as well, if Moltres gets hurt, he goes and hangs out in a volcano and comes back stronger. Who else can do that? Vegeta?
Yeah.
If Vegeta's on the list, fine. He's number 1. But as of right now, it's Moltres. Moltres in the number 1 spot. Shelter at 28. What a list we've built so far. Yep. Zach, anything you want to say in closing?
I think that our list is 100% accurate. And if you have a problem with it, please share our video, like and subscribe, and put it in the comments that you have a problem with the video. Thank you.
I agree. If you want to say something mean to us, say the opposite, and Zach and I will read between the lines.
Yeah. Just at the very end, do like in quotes, opposite, and we'll get it.
Winky face. Do the winky face emoji.
We'll
face. Figure it out.
Yeah.
But just write a positive review on Apple Podcasts and just be like, these guys are really great. Great is all exclamation marks. We'll know.
Yeah.
We'll know. And we'll read it too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
With that in mind, Moltres, we love you. Koji Nishino, we still love you. We miss you. You had a great reign at the top. Mm-hmm. And who knows how long Moltres will stay there. Maybe they'll announce some other special version of Snorlax for Pokemon Legends Arceus, and we can discuss changing the list around. Who knows?
Ancient sleeping giant.
The ancient. We get
Shadow of Colossus
artifact version.
Artifact Shadow of the Colossus Snorlax.
I love it. Well, in closing, I would like to say, as always, the Pokemon Power Podcast would like to thank Bulbapedia.bulbagarden.net, Cerebi.org, and Dr. Lava YT. If you'd like to learn more about Pokemon, those would be great resources for you. If you'd like to ask us a question about next week's Pokemon, submit a game, or just keep up with the podcast, you can find us on most social media platforms at Pokepowpod. And as always, from Shelter to surprise, surprise, Moltres, if you were a Pokemon, we would choose you. Thanks for listening.
Bye.